I want to give you my honest opinion on the projects that James Gunn announced, and I want to give you my honest opinion on where we find ourselves in the DCU. So on this channel, you will only ever find me being honest. And I am honestly not super excited in the projects that were announced to us the other day. I think I mentioned this in my reaction video. I'm very 50-50 on it. I think there are some projects that are really cool. I think there are some projects that are a little odd and almost unnecessary, not needed. And then I think there are some projects that are literally just James Gunn being James Gunn. Now, I know wherever you look online, you're gonna see people who are eating this up and are absolutely loving it. You're gonna see people who are absolutely hating it and still calling for James Gunn to be fired. And then you're gonna see people who are right in the middle. Now, the most common reactions I have seen to James Gunn's plan here has either been quite positive or right in the middle. Some things sound cool, but overall they're cautious and it sounds a little messy, or they're not all that interested, or they thought it was kind of meh. And that's how I feel about it. First of all, I want to talk about the confusion that I think this is starting to create. As if we didn't have confusion with DC already, we're continuing to have it here. I don't understand what is going on with the DCU and Elseworlds projects. I thought what they wanted to do was they wanted to scrap everything that took place in its own solidified universe. And they only wanted one universe. They just wanted the DCU. Everything that comes out in DC is going to take place in the DCU, and there will no longer be solidified projects. There will no longer be DC projects that don't take place in the DCU. Well, clearly that's not the case. Not only are we getting the DCU, but we're getting Elseworlds projects. We're still getting the Matt Reeves Batman, we're still getting Todd Phillips Joker, and we're getting anything else that is a DC project that doesn't take place in the DCU. So how does that differentiate this world compared to where we were with the DCEU before this? You're still in that same trap of having a connected universe, but then a universe that's not connected. And I thought the point was to get rid of that. Even more confusion on what is going on with the 4 movies we're getting this year: Shazam, Flash, Blue Beetle, and Aquaman. Are they taking place in the DCU? Is it before the DCU? Like, I just don't get it. And I don't think many people get it. Like, is Shazam in the DCU? Is Blue Beetle gonna be in the DCU? Like, we do know that the Flash is retconning the DC universe. Does that then mean Aquaman is going to be in the DCU? Considering that ever since he announced these plans, he's been talking a lot about what's going on behind the scenes. And he's been talking about how Jason Momoa is going to stay as Aquaman, but they've been teasing him as Lobo. Like, I just don't understand what's going on. That's the problem with these announcements, is nothing got cleared up. It actually got more confusing. So then the problem continues to be, is this a reboot or not? I'm still confused on this, and they haven't given any information on it, because clearly he's still using people from the DCEU and bringing them over to the DCU. Whereas I thought this was supposed to be a brand new and fresh restart. It seems like a lot of people are capable of coming back to play their previous roles if they so wish. It looks like Zachary Levi's capable of coming back. back. It looks like Jason Momoa is capable of coming back. It's even sounding like right now that they're in discussion with Gal Gadot to come back as Wonder Woman as well, which is really odd because this isn't a full-on reboot then if that's the case. And sorry, it seems like everybody is capable of coming back other than Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill. Ben Affleck makes a little more sense. He's chosen to be done with Batman for a long time. But Henry Cavill as Superman, that is another situation. I don't want to go down into that topic again, but I mean, you got rid of a man who only loved playing the Superman character. I just don't understand what is happening here. So another thing that is supposed to be important in this universe is the involvement of the Trinity and therefore the Justice League. Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman have to be a focus, and then moving on from them, you have to focus on Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, whoever else is in your Justice League. Before you can expand a DC universe with different characters and different teams, you need to focus and concentrate on the mains. The Trinity and the Justice League need to be focused on, and then once they are solidified, you can start moving on to some of the background characters and making movies and shows for them. Well, that's not what's happening here. So we're getting a Superman movie, which I'm on. Like, I don't really know how I feel about the film. And then we're getting a Batman Brave and the Bold film. And then we're getting Paradise Lost, which is basically a prequel to Wonder Woman's birth. So we have two of the three for the Trinity. The issue is that a lot of the projects that were announced are just projects that literally seem like they're trying things. They're just throwing things at the wall, seeing what's gonna stick, and like, this could be cool, this could be fun, let's give it a shot. I don't get it. Like, for example, I think my favorite announcement is the Green Lantern project. This is something I have been waiting for a very long time. I've wanted to see a buddy cop team up with Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan. I think it's really cool that the threat they end up uncovering in their show is what is going to be the threat of the DCU. The Green Lanterns have been sidelined for far too long, even considering that in comic books, some of the biggest galactic threats that the Justice League has ever had to face off against usually stem from some sort of relation from Lantern cores. So I think it's really great that they're establishing them. But just for example, why would they get a TV show, but the Authority would get a movie? Like, I don't understand that. I don't know the reasoning behind that. And to be quite honest with you, why is the Authority even getting a project in general? We are not in a time of DC where we need something like that right now. I'll be completely honest with you. Creature Commandos is a no from me. I don't care. Authority, whereas I think the premise could be interesting, you don't make a film like that now. That comes years into the future, and I don't even think you make it a movie. I think you make it a TV show. Whereas I think Swamp Thing is really cool. The Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow movie is such an interesting concept. The Booster Gold TV show would actually be a lot of fun to watch. Once again, why now? Like, you're starting a DCU. The whole point is to focus on the Trinity and the Justice League. Like, why are we rushing into that? Like, okay, if you break it down into phases, the way Marvel did, phase 1, 2, 3, 4, which I believe was how many phases they had for their first 10 years to finally get up to Thanos. Those are movies I would probably introduce in phase 3. I don't understand why we're getting that at the beginning. And other things I'm not really understanding here. So the Superman movie is going to deal with a younger Superman. And when we say younger, I'm assuming what they're gonna do is they're gonna maybe do mid-20s, late 20s of a Superman. Now in the Batman movie, Batman is going to have a Robin, but it's already going to be Damian Wayne. Why are you skipping 3 Robins And if that's the case, the Bat family has already been established. Because to get to Damian Wayne, you need Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, Batgirl, and a multitude of other potential characters. And I know he talks about how Damian Wayne is his favorite Robin. I can't say the same. He's my least favorite Robin. I think he's an absolute nuisance and he's nothing but annoying. I don't understand why you couldn't just do this movie, but with Dick Grayson. Now, what does that mean though? Is this Batman older? Because if he has Damian Wayne, and let's just say, for example, Damian is 10 years old. He's probably, 35? There's even a potential chance that Bruce Wayne is, I don't know, 40? Are you getting another older Batman? Are we going down that route again? And you're also considering bringing Gal Gadot back as Wonder Woman? And I don't want to call her old, but she certainly is an older Wonder Woman. So you're willing to have an older Batman and an older Wonder Woman, but God forbid having an older Superman. You can't have Henry Cavill. He specifically needs to be younger. I just don't get it. As much information as he gave us, there's still even more questions now that I have. Whereas I agree with what he said about diversifying DC, making it different than other superhero content out there today, like Marvel, I just don't see how you can diversify DC with all of these different types of characters and superhero team-ups that people have not heard of before without establishing Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, and Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, or whoever else you want to be in the last one or two spots of the group. Based off of the slate we got, you're telling me we're gonna get an Authority movie, a team-up based movie, before we get a Justice League movie, a team-up based movie. I just don't see how some of these decisions and these projects they've chosen to move forward with can work, are necessary to the expansion of the DCU, and frankly even make sense to the DCU's survival. You know, instead of pretending like you were gonna do a hard reboot and now all of a sudden you're opening the door because you're willing to continue things from the DCEU, I would honestly argue this would have gone so much simpler, so much smoother if you completely retconned everything that came before and just started from scratch, so that no baggage would hold you down from the previous films in the universe. Just start from scratch. Just do a reboot. I thought it was actually going to be that simple. Whether or not you're a fan of the reboot, at least from the reboot's perspective, you would literally be able to start from a very beginning with new people and characters and just start there and build up. Build up the way it should be built up. But now it's just all over the place again. Like, I don't understand the full outlook of what he presented the other day. Not only are you taking the confusion of both universes, Elseworld universes, but he's talking about how he wants to merge the DCU with animation and video gaming. Animation's one thing because some people do like watching animation, but video gaming, that's a different story. Video gaming is not for everybody. Some people don't like playing video games. So if you're gonna make a video game that ties into the DCU, you better make sure that it's not important enough to the DCU that if you didn't play it, you wouldn't be missing something. I do think getting video games involved is wildly bold and very ambitious and might honestly be unnecessary. I know right now there's a lot of people who are excited for this announcement because, let's be honest here, as DC fans, we've never really had any dedicated plan or timeline of projects, and James Gunn just gave that to us. So on the surface, it looks great because we've never had this before. And he knows how to talk to people. He knows what everybody wants to hear, especially when he says in his presentation video about story being king, and that's all that matters. He knows what we want to hear. Now back it up. Make sure that happens. When you really look at these projects individually, when you look at the decisions being made here, and I mean, this is how I personally see it, but I think it's fine to be skeptical and it's fine to be confused by this. Because if anything, this has made me raise even more questions because he didn't truly answer anything. You know, if he was to announce films like you're getting a Superman movie, Batman movie, Wonder Woman movie, a Trinity movie, and then you're gonna get Green Lantern, Flash, and then a Justice League, I'd be like, damn, I'm in. Like 100% I'm in. Unfortunately, that's how I feel about the announcement. Those are my true thoughts on this. I'm not hyped up. I'm not super excited. And apparently there's 2 projects that he didn't announce that day. One has a director and the other project couldn't be announced because it gave away way too much information on their world. You know, would it be too much to ask if maybe one of those projects is a Justice League movie? Or is it a weird superhuman group of misfits fighting mall security at night? You know, I don't know what to think of this moving forward. I'm saving a lot of my harsh judgment until we get a lot more details because I'm sure that is going to come eventually, of course. I can't sit here and lie to you and say, oh my God, this is the best thing we've ever gotten, because I truly don't feel that way. I think we could have gotten much better than what was announced to us. And if you're really excited for this, good, I'm glad. Like, I'm happy that we could get excited for the DCU in general. But right now, I am not feeling it. But now I want to hear from you in the comments below. What do you think of the DCU slate so far? And are you excited for this? I am sure my thoughts on this will develop and I'll have even more videos that I'm going to make on this topic. But until that time comes, that is all I have for you in this video. So I will talk to you all very soon.